So regards, we're going to talk about speaking. First, oral communicative skills. Refers to strategies to have a better communication with another person and maintain a proper conversation. And we found conversational discourse allows to develop a natural and fluent conversation in the general context. Pronunciation is about conveying the message as the speaker wants it to be conveyed, taking into account intonation and accent. Accuracy and fluency. Accuracy refers to use of clear and articulate, grammatically, phonologically correct language, and fluency has to do with the natural flow of ideas. Next, affective factors. Teachers should create a warm and welcoming atmosphere for students to speak in their new language. Finally, the interaction effect. Students must learn to identify their interlocutors in order to choose the correct form and approach when using the components of language to respond in a dialogue. Thank you.
Within the teacher learning process, we find the macro skill, which help the teacher to design the rubric to evaluate the progress of the speaking children. Next. The teacher can evaluate the language of different length and if the student orally produce different phonemes and allophonic variants, word in stress and unstressed position, rhyming structure, reduced form or word and phrases, fluent speech and different rates, pause, growth, and rate. Also, the student use an adequate number word, pause, fillers, and self-correction, backtracking, grammatic word plays, system and rulers, facial feature, kinesthetic, body language, and another nonverbal cues. Thank you.
Factors that made speak difficult. One of the first things learners want to develop in order to able to use language is a communicative competence, which requires a complex interactive skills. But there are factors that make this speaking process difficult, such as grammar and vocabulary. Here it is first necessary to acquire the knowledge of grammar and vocabulary, which will help them to a correct pronunciation, uh, accuracy, and fluency. Next, please. Other difficulties that have been experienced are related to colloquial speech, such as idioms, expressions, and different phrases. And finally, demanding that with most not forget the sensitive nature of each individual and be careful when it's come to the feedback and error correction. Thank you.
Types of classroom speaking performs. This refers to public child. This is child or transmit information before an audience through a classroom presentation, public announcements, and speeches. Next. Imitative speaking is the ability to imitate borrowed back a word or phrase or possibly a sentence. Responsive is interaction at the somewhat limited level of the very short conversation, standard greeting, a small talk, and simple comment. In terms of speaking, although some below imitatives include any speaking performed that are designated to practice of phonological and grammatical aspects of language. Next, please. Interactive speaking. Complex interaction with sometimes include multiple usage and or multiple participants. Interpersonal, using social dialogues that involve also register colloquial language, laws, special points, sarcasms, and the cover agenda. Extensive, it refers to speech, monologues, oral presentation, story learning, reports, summaries, and short speeches. Next.
Okay, now we are going to develop the speaking activity. Hello, guys. As you know, we have been learning about the stories, and now it's your turn to tell me a story. And first, we are going to review some vocabulary. Please, Jennifer, help me reading the following words.
Little Red Riding Hood, Once Upon a Time, Forest, Food, Grandma, and Wolf.
Thank you so much. As you could see, those words are related to a story that everyone knows. That is the Little Red Riding Hood, La Caperucita Roja. And now you have some pictures about the story, and you are going to develop the story in order. Please, the stage is all yours.
One day, the reading hood left the house to leave food for her grandma. But on her way through the forest, she met a wolf, and she told him that she was going to visit her grandmother.
At that moment, the wolf thought, I can eat Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma. And when Hildurian researched Grandma's house and delegated him and her to eat Little Red Riding Hood.
When Little Red Hood arrived at Grandma's house, she saw her very strongly and asked her question, to which the angry wolf pounced to eat her. But at the moment, a bird friend of Little Riding Hood entered the house.
The bear confronted the wolf and made him flee. The grandmother, in gratitude, gave him a heart of honey and Little Red Riding Hood, and the grandmother were able to live in place and gave each other a big hug. The end.
Okay, thank you so much, girls. That was so amazing.
Thank you.